Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 3 and we will present our assignment. Before we start, we choose Istisna as Islamic financial institutions. I'm Hafiza binti Rizal as a chairman, CEO of company, and we'll start the presentation. Istisna is one of the Islamic financing methods that comply with Sharia. The word istisna comes from the Arabic word sana'a, which means making, producing, or building something. Istisna is always known as by mu'ajar for sale with deferred payment. In 2015, Bank Negara Malaysia defined istisna as referring to a contract where the seller sells to the buyer an asset that has not yet been built or made based on agreed specifications and complete on an agreed date at a price that has been set and agreed. In the Sharia concept, al-istisna from a language point of view has been agreed upon by scholars that al-istisna means to have something to be done or do something. In other words, make something based on what is requested. From the point of view of the term, the scholars disagree because they have different opinions about the practical. The opinion of fuqaha is asking the maker to do something in a specific way. Both scholars Maliki and Shafi'i said categories istisna as the same as buy and sana. Next, both transactions of other commodities, but what differentiates between two concepts is the type of items ordered. In contrast, al-istisna requires order is a specific and not always available on the market, while buy and salam trade orders are more likely to be generic items. The main objective of istisna financial products is to promote the ability of Islamic finance to finance construction projects or the manufacturing sector. In istisna transactions, payment can be made in several ways, i.e. paid in installment after the completion of the project. And the choice of payment method is based on the agreement between the customer and the bank. In addition, istisna is a purchase contract where the purchase is made in advance at an agreed price for goods that do not exist now but will be made later by the contractor according to the agreed specifications. Last but not least, istisna contract has three parties. First, the producer or manufacturer. Second, the bank, and the customer.
Hi, I am your Fatima Zira binti Ridwan as your manager marketing. So without wasting time, I will explain about characteristics of istisna. There are a few characteristics of istisna that can be different with other contracts. First of all, it can be used by small and medium enterprise. Bank being helper on two parties, which is the manufacturer and client. Istisna is to help their client with their startup enterprise from manufacturer aspect. Not just that, it is also the ideal for medium to short-term finance as istisna contract focusing on offers flexible financing terms with the client requirements. As example, the time frame is according to the client wanted. Finally, client can utilize istisna financing to meet their working capital requirement, as istisna promotes and assists in maximizing the application of technology in the manufacture of capital goods in order to optimal capabilities of capital goods.
I'm Nuraini binti Salah as accounting manager. We'll continue the presentation about the advantage and disadvantage. The main advantage of istisna contract is that they can also provide flexibility to customer, where payments can be made in installment while waiting for the completion of the project, during the project, and after the project. Istisna method also uses the concept of always complying with this established Sharia, which such as financing the customer will be able to avoid getting involved in usury and gharar. The prohibition of usury is avoided in the use of istisna because it gives increase in expenses to the customer that will burden it regardless of whether a small quantity or a large amount. The disadvantage the using of istisna method is that buyer has to deal with price risk during the contract due to price increase or decrease. This is because in the beginning, the customer has decided to make a reservations for asset. Next, the disadvantage is the risk associated with the contractor performance. Before making an agreement between the seller and buyer, the appointment of contractor as a third party to carry out the order project should be evaluated first according to the specification agreed upon in the writing contract. I will continue the presentation about the comparison of Islamic Istisna and conventional bank. Can be seen is from the way of financing for the Islamic banking system and conventional system. For conventional banking, there is only one way of financing through loans. Because of this, banking provides several products such as credit card. Islamic Istisna, this focus on the method of Istisna financing with transaction carried out through direct payment or installment for manufactured goods to complete the desired order. Next, the difference is payment charge are also different for Islamic banking and conventional banking. Conventional banking will make late paying charge a profit in banking, but Islamic Istisna, no compound will be charged to late paying customer. The last one is about the loan risk is also different. Conventional banks offer loans to the customer. The contract carried out has no risk other than the customer defaulting as a borrower, and Islamic Istisna bear the risk with the customer.
Istisna is a unique Islamic banking contract from conventional banking. This can be seen in the structure of Istisna. It will only consist by three parties, which is manufacturer and the client. The bank will only be the middle party to them, while conventional bank will have many shareholders. Not only that, in the making improvement of contract Istisna need to be through the Sharia team to ensure the result of product is clean from illegal source, while conventional banking in or of Sharia terms. Furthermore, in Istisna can change the terms if it can bring benefit to the client. The bank will help in the best way and will still be saving to make sure that the client will not have too much debt on making their startup business to pay later.
Satino Faria binti Roslan as a Human Resource Management. The current issue that are frequently debated is irregularities in the implementation of Istisna contract. These are referred to actions that violate the agreement or use Istisna irresponsibly or not accordance with Sharia principles. Example include maker not fulfilling commitment to develop or produce promised asset failure to. Secondly, unclear term and condition in Istisna contract is an issue that is often raised in Islamic banking practice in Malaysia. Istisna involves a contract for the construction or production of certain asset, and the clarity of the term and condition in the contract is very important to ensure clarity of right and responsibility between the parties involved. One example of unclear term and condition in Istisna contract is when the agreement does not clearly state the price to be paid by the customer. Thirdly, the risk of contract cancellation of Istisna contract should be taken seriously, as it can lead to negative impression and loss of customer trust. Fair dispute resolution mechanisms such as negotiation or Islamic arbitration can help reduce uncertainty and conflict in contract cancellation situation. Moreover, one of the important issues related to Istisna is the community understanding and awareness of this concept or of correct and effective use. Increasing awareness and knowledge of what Istisna can be done in various ways. One of the ways is through information and education campaign carried by financial institutions.
Next, my name is Norbert Elizabeth Jeffrey. I will explain about illustration Istisna. The Islamic bank will enter into a contract with the procedure who will then enter ship the items directly to the Islamic bank or ask the Islamic bank to take possession of the goods at the producer location. An agency agreement between the manufacturer and the Islamic bank will be established. The Islamic bank will have the manufacturer sell the goods to the buyer and keep the proceeds. The manufacturer and the bank will then divide the remainder after deducting the agency charge. Here, therefore, is the most realistic option. The bank will reach an agreement with the supplier. The raw material will be produced by the manufacturer. After the manufacturer notifies the bank that is interested into taking on the position, the bank enters into an agency agreement with the manufacturer and asks the manufacturer to sell the items to the buyer. This is how the Istisna contract works. The manufacturer will sell the items to the buyer on behalf of the bank, and the bank will get the proceeds of the sale either in advance or in installment, with a percentage of the proceeds going to the bank after fees are deducted.
In conclusion, Istisna is an important Islamic financing method for manufacturing and construction transactions, providing financial support to the small and medium enterprise, flexible financing terms, and detailed specification of the asset to be built. However, it faces certain challenges that need to be addressed, such as irregularities in contract implementation, unclear term and condition, and the risk of contract cancellation due to delivery or project completion issue. To harness the full potential of this financial method, the Islamic finance industry must address this challenge and ensure the proper application of Istisna principles.